Oh, it's me. Hi. Welcome to Rain City Supercars. I'm Nick.
I'm Dan.
Keep that in.
Yep. We're still broadcasting at the Mountside Pub. Thanks to David. And we're brought to you by Haggerty, Avants, Carter Subaru, Rainier Beer, and In Kind with AAT, and Griot's Garage. Speaking of which, we got a fancy code for our listeners.
Finally.
Well,
they gave it to us. We forgot.
Yeah, it's RCS 10. So if you want to get Griot's Garage products, you can go to griotsgarage.com or go to the store and give them the code RCS10, which will be on our website, and you get 10% off your products.
Yeah, there's no stacking codes, just so you know, because I know there's some Avants members out there that had asked that too. But so just get your products.
Yeah, we shared the love.
Speaking of that, we went to Griot's this weekend, and I'm really excited. They gave us a little bit of their new ceramic coated car wash which is ironic because both of us washed our cars before we went there. But I can't wait to try it actually and kind of see how it works. I know it's going to work fabulous, but it's just excited about it.
Somewhat ironically, I am going to wash and detail the truck before the Avants event this weekend.
Why?
Because it'll look nice.
Are you going to use it?
I think so.
Okay.
I'm going to try all the ceramic products and just dump them on there and see how it goes.
Just dump them on there?
So it'll just be full of bark and dirt under the truck, but top should look okay.
I don't know what you're talking about. Which, by the way, we are going to be at the Avants event this weekend. We have a couple of surprises. We'll have a few things.
We have some giveaways. We have some prizes. We have an obnoxiously large tent. You will not miss us at all.
And if you want them...
No offense to our blind listeners.
Yeah. It's obnoxiously large. I can't wait to show people. We're going to be selling our shirts. We finally have shirts in stock. So, yeah.
If you want a shirt, come out. You can pick one up.
Absolutely. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But, yeah. How's your week been?
So fun.
Have you had a good
so
week?
much has happened.
Are you going to make me mad?
Well, we talked about it last week. I got the monkeys, and I've been riding them to and from town.
I've been trying to sell a liver. Nobody wants to buy one.
Well, we keep abusing it.
This true. It's true. This bar abuses this liver.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that is so much fun. I've had motorcycles my entire life. Literally, I've been riding motorcycles. Before I learned to ride a bicycle, I learned to ride a motorcycle. Mm-hmm. And this is I think there's probably some like childhood joy I can't replace. But as far as an adult, this is the best bike I've ever had, which makes no sense. Granted, I've had an RC51, I've had a CBR 1000RR, I've had a Street Fighter 1098, I've had multiple dual sports, I've had tons of dirt bikes. This thing is just so stupid fun to ride. It's so tiny, and people laugh, but they're happy to see it. I wonder if this is like owning a Volkswagen bus.
I mean, do you feel like people see you on that more than they would see you on a regular bike?
Weirdly, yes. Okay. It's so small, but I think people are happy to see it, and they want to know what it is. They're like, why is this very large man riding this very small thing in town? Is that legal? I don't know.
Well, I mean, yeah. He must have come out of living in a van down by the river. Yeah. Did you hear about that? Speaking of motorcycles, about that highest motorcycle museum in the world went up in flames today?
It's in Austria or something, right?
Yeah, but like apparently it's got a ton of like European racing history is gone now. And I mean, I was looking at the photos and it looks like the interior was nothing but like wood track, which makes sense of why it burned to the ground. But yeah, it was apparently a pretty catastrophic fire. It's in the Austrian Alps, I believe.
Oh man, that's sad.
Yeah,
it's a great place to ride, so it makes sense. But man, that's sad.
Yeah, I was just off that topic, of things. Yeah. Huh. I'm sorry I made you sad about your monkeys. I'm just making you sad because I don't have one yet.
Monkeys are happy, Nick. Why did you do that?
Monkeys are happy. Yeah. You ever seen a caged monkey? I'm not very happy.
No, they're actually not. I ran into a few in Japan and a few in Thailand. They're not really happy.
That's another subject for another time. How much time do you spend with real monkeys? That's like, I think it was a joke because somebody's like, learn to defend yourself at 11 o'clock tonight. Well, what happens if something happens before then? How am I supposed to defend myself before the 11 o'clock news? So, yeah. Well, I'm glad you're having a good week. I'm having a week.
Having a week, yeah.
So, as you know, we had that huge windstorm here, and it was really cool to watch.
Yeah, you got to use your chainsaw.
I did. So that's actually
let's start with that.
Let's start with that. News. So I was driving home. It was the night, and it was raining sideways, and I was like, I need to kind of get out of the house and go, walk somewhere. And so I went to Target and walked around, and then I went to Fred Meyer, and I was on my way home, and like we were that back road from your house that goes up to mine on the Sammamish Plateau. I think it's like 228th or something like that.
Yeah, I can't remember.
There's a giant tree down in the road, and I was like, I wasn't in my Subaru, and so I booked it home, got the Subaru, got my DeWalt chainsaw, and I go out there. And about the time I get there, there's cop lights around it. And I pull up, and the cop kind of drives by me, and I backed up on the street. And, like, I rolled down the window, and he's like, what do you want? And I'm like, I have a chainsaw. And instantaneously, he's like, oh, really? You do? Good. Well, I mean, and then we were sitting there laughing because we were like 3 blocks from the fire department. I'm like, we don't need those fire boys to come down here with their saw to cut this up. So it worked really, really well. And I was laughing because he goes, it fell on the road. And if you look at a road, you got the dotted line, you got the white lines going down the side. He goes, just cut it to the white line. And I go, oh, yeah. Those guys on bicycles, they don't need to get by here. He's like, yeah. I was like, okay. So that was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I went home and like watched the storm, and the power was out for another 12 hours. But I got up the next day, and I got a message from some friends of ours, Aja and DJ, who are on the East Coast. And they're like, hey, there's some stuff on my porch. Could you go pick it up for me? Which they've asked me to do before. I'm close, and I'm like, oh, cool. I'm like, how'd you guys weather the storm? And I'm like, they're like, oh, we didn't know there was a storm. So I go out there, and they're off of Redmond, between Redmond and Fall City there. And I stopped on the road, and the gentleman behind me didn't. And so I'm getting a new rear hatch, a new rear bumper, and all kinds of stuff on my Subaru. It actually goes in tomorrow. Well, it'll be in by the time we get at Queen City. I'm going to keep the insurance people out of this, but I've been fighting with the insurance. The guy was very nice. I mean, he looked at me and goes, I went for the brake. I hit the gas. I'm sorry, which was fine. My car protected me. I'm not sore at all.
Wow, that's good.
At all.
I'm glad he owned up to it. Accidents happen.
Oh, God, yeah. Well, it was funny because, like, I mean, it's a lot of superficial damage. There's dents. I mean, but if you looked at my car from the far, you wouldn't know. But, like, the front of his car, his Honda, like, the hood was railed back, the bumper's gone, the lights are gone. Like,
yeah.
But I'm fighting with that going back and forth. I was laughing because I got an initial quote from Queen City, which I cannot ever say enough good things about Queen City.
Yeah, they've done some work for me in the past, too. Good guys over there. And
their quote came in at like $4,700. Yeah. And the other insurance company came back and says, we're going to give you $1,700. And I went, no, we're not. So I'm going to be dealing with that this week, hopefully.
You shouldn't have to. Queen City.
No, they're used to it. But it's just like,
yeah.
And it's funny because, again, I'm not going to talk about the insurance company, but the gentleman that I'm working with, the agent there, is very nice, and he goes, this is what's going to happen. He goes, we're going to come in really low. He goes, just know that. Because everything is done through their apps now.
Yeah.
You take photos, and then some adjuster looks at the and I'm like, you can't tell. Yeah. So it's been kind of an interesting week. Hopefully it won't be too traumatic. I'll probably end up with something really cool like Toyota Camry or something like that. So
yeah.
I'll be rolling like that. So yeah.
Probably a Corolla, actually.
Ooh, Corolla, yeah. Well, I told,
good mileage.
I said that. I was like, I need a car that's comparable. Like, I need a small truck or a small SUV or something because I want to use it, and we'll see. Who knows? But it's been interesting. The rest of the week was pretty good. This weekend was good. You and I took a drive down to Griot's, which I love. It's so much fun.
I never get sick of going there. I mean, my whole life I've been going there.
If you haven't been to Griot's, and I'm saying this even if they weren't a sponsor right now, you should go down there just to see what's in the showroom.
Yeah, there's a Viper ACR, there's the McLaren Senna, there's the McLaren 685 LT, both painted in Marlboro racing colors, which if you look at them in person look orange. They're not. The reason they were painted that rather orange, all Marlboro-sponsored cars, which is throwback to Senna, were painted in that odd
back
orange.
When cigarette-sponsored cars.
Yeah, back when racing was cooler.
Yeah.
They were painted in that color because on TV they looked Marlboro red. And so that was due to the way just cameras worked back then.
It's almost a neon orange-red.
Yeah, it's like a safety orange almost. It's awesome color.
It's so cool. But, I mean, and those cars together, I mean, I got Richard Griot's the owner, obviously, of the cars, and he is just – they're specced gorgeously.
Yeah.
They've got so cool.
That V8 E30 M3 two-door wagon.
That's their detail wagon.
The detail wagon, which you've probably seen on the cover cars, but the Lincoln steals the show for me, which is saying a lot when there's a Senna.
Oh, Nick's Lincoln, yeah.
Nick's Lincoln is still like the car I walk into, and I'm just like, perfection.
Yeah.
If I could pick any car in there, I would immediately pick the Lincoln. Over the Senna. Over the 675. And the 675 is the best car I've ever driven in my life, hands down. But that Lincoln, it just is never uncool.
It was cool, and I have to say this. I feel like every time now when you're in the car community, people are like, I want a Lincoln with suicide doors. Oh, did you watch Entourage? No, I didn't, and I don't care about it. But
I did, and I still want one.
Oh, did you? Okay, fair enough.
But that's not why I want one.
That's not why I want one. Yeah, it's way too. It's so gorgeous. I don't know if have they featured that on the magazine or not.
I think so. I want to say yes.
Speaking of that, on all their new stuff they're featuring a beautiful new 2021 Ford GT the first of the Carbon edition.
Yeah, and it's a local car.
It's a local car, and you'll know because the license plate says Carbon.
Yeah, in Washington.
Carbon on carbon on carbon. Oh, so pretty.
Yeah. Carbon interior, carbon exterior, carbon everything.
If you're listening to this on Friday, they actually released a ton of photos of it on their website on Monday of the car. It's just, it's one of those cars that just looks, I mean, it's just mean looking, but I didn't think the Ford GT could look better, but the Carbon edition looks 10 times better than anything painted.
It really does.
Yeah.
Like, that's, even going over the past, and I'm a nostalgic person. I love classic cars because they don't go out of style. Like, you look at an old car and you're like, that's cool. The Ford GT now, I think, is the best car Ford's ever produced, ever. And that's controversial because of the V6, and I get that. But it's so functional.
Yeah, but when I see what that V6 or feel what that V6 does in your Raptor, like...
Right. Yeah, it definitely swayed me. And I think a V8 would be better. That'd be the one perfection, but it performs so well. So what do you say to that when a car works so well? It's awesome.
I've only sat in one of them. We were
Jet Center? Yeah.
No, here at Drivers Club. In Forza. Forza.
Alan's car. He was on the show.
But I got to bring this up because it's kind of, and I don't know if I brought it up or not, but the fact that like a year ago, we talked about the fact, it was almost a year ago, that we were at Drivers Club and Koenigsegg showed up with the Jesko and the world record car. The Jesko was just introduced into Forza Motorsports 4 like last week, which is really cool because we got to see kind of some of the process and then some of the cars, which is really kind of neat to see that car in this area and to see it around the world. But kind of a neat thing. But back to the Ford GT. And it's funny you bring up Jet Center because my phone has been blowing up with Facebook memories of us being down in Jet Center the last few years.
And I was just in Scottsdale.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping the world's going to come back. I'm hoping we're going to get car shows again. Things are starting to come around. So
I'm definitely at that point where it's frustrating. I've had all of COVID lockdown to think of a lot of ideas and a lot of events, and we are now set up for events. We're set up to host events. We have our tent. We have a heater. We have tables. We have merchandise. We have more on the way. We have a great merchandise supplier. Like, we have cool stuff to do. We just can't do it. It's driving me insane.
It's tough. I mean, I don't know. And it's funny because this comes out on Friday, and as everybody knows, it's going to be an interesting week. So as things are, the world is changing. So,
but either way, we're going to be at that Dirtfish event.
Absolutely.
I don't care.
Absolutely. Oh, I can't. Just to get out of the house. Like, I was talking to my mom about that. My dad was like, "Can I come?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, you can come out. Whatever you want to do." But I'm laughing because I won't have my car. Not that I would have, but right. I don't know if I would have taken it out on the course this time because I took home a lot of souvenirs last time, including a few.
Yeah, we could have resodded a freaking flower bed, washing off the bottom of the car.
Oh, I just remember sitting out in the rain, downpouring, pulling 50 pounds of sod out of the bottom of my car. But it is so much fun. If you are an Avants member, and I think it's sold out.
It is sold out.
And I brought this up, and I forgot to talk to Adam about it, but I don't know. What the spectator idea is. I think it's strictly if you sign up to be with your car, you can spectate if you've signed up. But
yeah,
I don't think they're doing.
So this is a great opportunity to carpool, and whatever your whatever your view is on COVID, I encourage you all to be safe. And
buy a Suburban.
Yeah, clear about that. But if you have friends that are going, post up, and you can't go, and you didn't sign up. Ask on Avants Off-Road if you can go with somebody because this is so much fun. It's such a cool event. You don't have to hang out in a large group in a circle. You can actually just stay in your cars and do your thing, and it's so fun.
If the world was normal, it would still be a cool event. Yeah. I think it adds to the fact that how fun it is because we can't get out of our house.
Yeah.
So, so it's excuse me, just choking on Rainier.
Yeah.
I didn't even take a sip. I don't know why I said that. It's been interesting. Yeah.
Other news. I got more toys this week. I'm borrowing this one, though. I didn't buy, to be clear. I have an awesome friend, JR, who helped me out. So ever since our episode with Linnea... I
don't want to stab you. I don't. But I have a history with mountain bikes, and now all of a sudden you have a mountain bike, too. You have a monkey... and let some of us, the rest of us, have some fun.
It's been a week of toys.
Cool.
Amazon links not applied here. But we have... Ever since our episode with Linnea from Fluid Ride Mountain Bikes, and we obviously have tons of friends that ride mountain bikes, and they're always giving me crap because they're like, when are you going to get one? When are you going to get one? And obviously I've overspent on a lot of toys lately. So I mentioned to a friend of mine that I wanted to get into this, and he listened to the show, listened to the interview, and he's like, you can borrow mine. He's out of town training some NFL folks, so he's got a really cool job.
Just drop that.
Yeah, so he's like, hey, just go grab mine, and so I've got this Spartan 27.5, which for me, okay, to be really clear about our listeners, I've been riding a motorcycle my entire life, as I mentioned before.
It's the complete opposite, because what you know about motorcycles,
Yes.
I know about mountain bikes. But okay.
So, and I have ridden maybe a total of combined 50 miles on a bicycle in my entire life.
Fair enough.
Literally.
That's a good bike to start on, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I'm super happy with this. And so I was giving Linnea crap. I'm like, I don't know if you understand what you've signed up for here. Like, you're going to be teaching a toddler to ride a bicycle. So
I warned her for you too. Don't
okay.
worry. Yeah, you're good. But yeah.
So she says
she'll be an awesome teacher for you. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I it's funny to go back to that if you're into mountain biking, and we should link those videos, like the videos that she's doing with her job.
Yeah, the whole crew there at Fluid Ride is awesome, and everybody I've known. We have good friends that listen to the show. Derek, hey, how's it going?
Hi, Derek.
Yeah, he's actually Derek Del Conte is the one who actually told me that to check them out, and he was right. They're awesome videos.
Derek must want to be my friend. I got a LinkedIn thing from him today. So
ooh,
I accept it. I accept. You're welcome, Derek.
Yeah. So I will. She's good at posting videos, so I'm going to try and work with them on not really a series, but like some comic relief for our listeners.
Oh, I will
for them,
come out and film that,
because I am admittedly totally a noob. I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm excited because I hopefully won't have a bunch of bad habits, but I'm also going to crash a lot. So you'll be getting updates on my inevitable broken shoulder.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think the problems you're going to have is not you're going to hurt yourself with the fact that you're used to going into a corner and really having to throw a ton of weight around with a bike. And with a mountain bike, you're going to throw your weight into it, and then the rear end's going to come out. And you're going to be too forceful if I'd say anything. But
probably.
Again, you're going to go up to Duthie?
Probably Dokel or something like that.
Dokel? What's Dokel? I don't know Dokel. Oh.
Right up there, Fall City.
Oh, Dokel. Okay, yeah, I was thinking Duthie's in Snoqualmie too, but
yeah. There's so much around here, and so she's going to pick. I'm going to show up.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Yeah, there's tons of really good trails out there. Great learning experiences. Great way. I mean, you can't hurt yourself too bad. I mean, I guess you could. You're talking about
get blisters from trying to twist the right side of the grip, and it's not going to do anything.
Don't do that. Don't do that. And I'm even going to be a nice friend, and I'm going to teach you how the seat post thing works. Like somebody
before
didn't
it
teach
rails me.
Yeah. You learn real quick. You push that button and it's down. But other than that, that'll be fun. It's funny because I was talking to her and I'm like, because she has kind of the pulse on bikes again, and I'm like, would you look for one for me? Because I need to find a bike because I want to get out riding again because I miss it so much. But I'll just live vicariously through you.
This is going to be my training. I'm going to drop all my cardio at the gym for this, and one of the requirements is going to be that I ride to the gym unless it's like pouring down rain, which is 8 miles flat. It's flat. It's a flat 8 miles. So that's not really a tough ride. To be fair,
is your gym still on the island?
Redmond. I'm not going to ride to the ride.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I also. Oh,
that is flat. That doesn't count.
Yeah. So no, that's just to get your cardio up on the way to the gym, so you're not doing cardio at the gym and focus on my strength training. So, but it's.
I'm laughing back because I remember when you and I used to lift weights together, and we'd get in there and go cardio, and we had to warm up, and you would get on that rower. And I hate rowers.
I love rowing.
I hate it.
Yeah.
And I do. I mean, it's obvious that I don't. Running's not really my first.
It's not mine either.
Everybody goes, I don't have to outrun the bear. I have to outrun you. It just means I have to wrestle the bear, so I'm good. Either way. So, Timothy Treadwell, kiss my butt. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I am looking forward to that. Hopefully our listeners will get some good comedy relief because I admittedly am not going to be good at this, but I'm looking forward to sucking at something new and getting better at it. So
I think that your love and talent of motorcycle riding is not going to hurt you. It's going to be the actual pedaling up the hills that's going to get you. And you're in better shape than I am. And that being said, but it's not. You are a person that can take something and feel what the object underneath you, like the motorcycle, is doing and the reaction. And so I think you'll be fine. The thing you're going to have to kind of get used to is, and we were laughing with Linnea, is the fact that like we're talking about bunny hopping and things like that. I'm like, I could totally bunny hop when I could ride because I had clip-in pedals, and there's no skills to bunny hopping when you have clip-in pedals because you jump up, the bike comes with you.
Yeah.
But making a bike jump without any clip-in pedals is tough, and I haven't done it for years. So I look forward to you riding that, and I look forward to filming. I don't want you to crash, because I need you. So yeah,
I can still record with a few broken everything.
Yeah, a few broken everything. Yeah, you'd be surprised what a squirrel can do.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's true. I'm gonna get some body armor though, just one of those armored shirts because I'm used to riding with one. So I'm not going to get not one of the heavy ones like I used to ride on the motorcycles, but it's kind of funny when you're riding off road on a motorcycle and you're used to wearing armor. you don't move. You get used to that armor, and they're like, oh, there's a branch. You just plow through it.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
So-
you want some knee pads, you want some elbow pads. I actually have some elbow pads. I think some lizard skins that would work for you. That are already broken in too.
Oh, nice.
They've hit a few things, but they're good. So
Yeah. It'll be fun. And then, let's see, our friends at Drivers Club, we will be back there soon. We are going to be recording again at Drivers Club. Limited audience, of course. We are respecting the rules. And, of course, Drivers Club is appropriately asked that of us.
Can't we do it like where we're in the window recording and everybody's on the front lawn cheering for us? Like,
That'd be awesome.
Okay, yeah, great.
So good news from them. So we are still very happy to be back and working with Drivers Club and here still when we can. Like, it's nice to have the spots. I'm really looking forward to this opening again.
Drivers Club or the Mount Side Tavern?
Mount Side Tavern.
Why would we want it open? Then other people would be here.
I know.
I don't want that. COVID closed it for the rest of the year. Don't come here.
Let's talk more about some events. We're a little overdue for a break. Again, This is just Nick and I today, so it's a shorter show, but we've got some good stuff. And I have a Carter Subaru tip of the week that I will deliver right after this break. We'll be right back.
We spend an average of 8 hours and 41 minutes a day facing screens. Laptops, smartphones, tablets, even digital refrigerators. But what are we really connected to? Isn't it time you connected to something greater? Sometimes the best way to connect is to disconnect. This moment of escape was created by Haggerty for people who love cars.
And we're back.
Here we are.
Yep. Still at the pub. I love this place.
I love this bar.
Me too.
I mean, I miss Drivers Club. I'm not going to lie, but
It's just a totally different end of the spectrum.
Everybody wondered what would happen to us. We've survived.
Yeah.
You're going to hear a lot about this. We've talked about it, but Rain City's going to do a bunch of stuff here. So
Yeah, as soon as we can, this is going to be the
and until we can,
destination for
Dan
car
and I are
guys.
just going to hang out here by ourselves. So
Yeah,
it's
pretty
fine.
much in the dark.
Yeah, it's not the first time I've sat in a bar by myself. It's
Yeah.
got a fireplace, so it's
It
nice.
does. It
Yeah.
is a nice fireplace.
Yeah, and the deer are socially distanced with their masks. So we're good.
Yes, there's a little buck here
Yeah.
with a mask on.
Big buck.
He's got a backup on his other
course.
antler. Yeah. Anyway,
I lose all my masks. I feel like there used to be this unknown land where all your half your socks went to. That same land is sucking all my masks away. I
Yep.
don't know where my masks are going. Like it's like
every few weeks one just pops up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where did this come from?
how did that even get there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so for this week's Carter Subaru tip of the week, it is related to our off-road event. For those of you who are enthusiasts of getting things muddy like us, you may have come into the problem of a week's worth of washing the underside of your vehicle and still removing things. There is an easier way to do that. Okay, so there's two methods. The first one is if you have a pressure washer with detachable nozzles, which some of the cheaper electric ones don't, but the good ones do, you can swap it out to literally an undercarriage washer. You plug it into the bottom of your wand, and it literally pressure washes upside.
It's a little cart kind of thing.
Yep,
right?
and you
With
can flip it
nozzles.
upside
Yeah.
down to do pavement, which is better to get the circular one for that. But this is literally meant for washing the underside of your vehicle. If you're just on a budget, and that's totally fine, you don't want to buy a pressure washer in one of those, you grab a rainbow sprinkler, which is ones that go back and forth, and you put it on one end of your vehicle, and you just let that thing go for a little while, then you move it to the other side, and you keep letting it go, and it will just slowly wash away all of your muddy paint.
Oh. I've just been going to the boat docks, and I drive the front end of the car in, and then I back it up, and I drive the back end. You can get better with the back end because the front end you end up sucking water into the intake, but it's it's fine. I don't know. Where would you get a goofy idea like putting a rainbow sprinkler into your car? Like what type of
We just
nutball?
happen to know a guy who spends a lot of time off-road who brought that up, and I was like, that is a great tip of the week.
Oh, you mean a guy that could afford to, buy a lift and power wash it outside? Yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
Buys a rainbow sprinkler from Walmart? Gotcha, yeah. Yeah.
Hey,
It's got a Target. Fine, Target.
It's stupid and it works. It's not a stupid idea.
Well, it sounds extremely smart considering the last time I did the Avants event, I was under my car with a power washer with myself, which, by the way, don't do that. There's a lot of reflective surfaces when you have a power washer under a Subaru. That's all I'm going to say.
You will end up very muddy.
Yeah, wear glasses.
Yes,
another
wear
thing.
safety
Wear
glasses.
safety glasses, yeah.
Yeah. So those are. It's just a super simple way to clean the undercarriage of your car.
And you should. I mean, the amount of crap that you will do. I mean, just from even if you're going snow wheeling, the stuff you will find in your skid pans and I mean, we were cleaning out the Raptor after that first time, and like your A-arms were just full of crap.
Yeah, everywhere, anywhere there could be dirt, there was dirt.
Yeah.
So this is a great way to do that with really no effort. It's, obviously if you're in a state where there's a water shortage, don't do that. Sorry, California. Move north. I don't know.
I mean, and truthfully, some of those like drive-through touchless car washes, when you drive in, have a bar that will spray underneath, and if you just take your time.
Yeah, go real slow.
Real slow.
They have warnings about not bringing in too dirty of a vehicle, but I'm like, well, why do you exist then?
Well, I think that's just for the poor guy that has to clean up all the mess you
Right.
leave. But yeah.
Yeah, clean your stall if you go through a
We've never
drive-through
done
car
that,
wash.
though.
Yeah, I don't know who would do that. That's rude.
It's very rude. By the way, thank you for helping me wash my car this week, because I don't know the last time that car was washed. So
Probably the last time.
I have to get rear-ended to wash my car. It's funny because with that Subaru, I'm so anal about the rest of my cars. And
the inside's always clean.
And the inside, all that. But it looks better dirty.
Yeah, as our audience said.
It's so wonderful to have that thought in my head. Yeah. Inside thought.
It's nice to use it. It's nice. It's fun to have it dirty. Same with the truck. Like you get it all covered in mud, you're like, this looks kind of cool. I don't want to wash it all off.
I don't want to bite into that stereotype, but I feel like if I drive around with my car and I've got the roof rack and the tire and everything, and my car is spotlessly clean, people look at me and be like, he's never been off road.
Yeah, that spends a lot of time at the mall.
So I told you this earlier. So because the car is going in, I took the roof rack off. And I got like 4 miles more of the gallon. Like, oh boy. So I think the roof rack's going to stay off for a while.
Yep.
Financially wise, if I ever want to buy a Bronco, that's how I'm going to save all the money, by doing that.
Oh, good.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I heard the Bronco. Oh, what a launch mess! I feel like Ford does this a lot and has for a long time. I'll admit this: when I bought my Raptor, my reservation about buying the Raptor was buying from Ford, because they were a notorious nightmare to work with as a company.
I think this is a supply chain. So. Yeah. As you know, the original plan was the Subaru lease is up in June of 2022. Yes.
Okay.
Take my shoes off to count.
2021. Yes, go ahead.
So I thought what I would do is in like January of next year is I would put in my order and everything like that, and then I'd probably get a car in 6 months, right? I was hoping to kind of line it up. Well, now Ford is so pushed off by different things as far as the tires with the Sasquatch package and one of the holdups is the fact that the new that tire that's on there, the Wrangler, to have that word not on there is on the Broncos, because the Wranglers were built for the Wranglers, obviously. That's one of the holdups. The people that put in for their initial launch vehicle are going to start getting their cars in May of 2022, which means lonely people like me that want one aren't going to see one until probably, depending on how many they can crank out, like November, December of 2022, maybe.
Stupid code.
So I have to figure out what I'm going to do as far as do I turn the Subaru back in for a lease at the end of the lease and buy like a cheap Civic and just beat on it for a while, or like you were saying, like maybe find a Tacoma.
I'd say a Tacoma or a Wrangler, just because they don't depreciate.
Well, the other thing I can do is I can buy out the lease. The residual on the Subaru is high; it's like 15. But here's a funny story about the Subaru. I will have owned it 2 years in February, and I have 15,000 miles on it. So it's not high mileage.
Yeah.
So I probably could get my money out of it after buying it, but I don't know. It's kind of a conundrum. Or do you just? I might
have a Raptor for sale.
No. Why would you get rid of the Raptor?
Get another one.
Oh, okay, that's different. Okay, that's different. Yeah. I can't afford your Raptor. I can't even afford your monkeys. I bought some other thing. Everybody's like giving me. By the way, Dan bought monkeys. Everybody's around me buying monkeys. Everybody's like, Nick, you're going to buy a monkey. And Nick is going to buy a monkey. I told a billion people we had a plan. I even sort of brought it up on Facebook. I didn't want to, but you made it public, so I had to. I have to. And I bought some other personal defense items that took away from my monkey fund. So.
Swords, they're back in fashion.
Huh?
Swords, they're back in fashion.
Exactly. I tell you. I don't know. So I don't know. It's interesting because I've been emailing with Ford a little bit, and I'll give them credit in the fact that a lot of the automatic emails are coming back and they are explaining some of the things, but it's looking right now that people that ordered like the first edition and stuff like that aren't going to see cars until early next year.
Yeah.
So, which sucks, but I don't know. And that's another thing too, is like I want to drive one, especially the difference between the 2.3 and the 2.7. And kind of see
2.7. So I know the answer to that.
I absolutely if you're like me, and if you're not, do it, and even if you don't want one, go on Ford's website and go through the spec. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I spec mine's two-door right. It's two-door right now. It changes every day. And but out the door, and I didn't do the bad, I did the Sasquatch package and all that, but out the door is 46 right now.
Yep.
And so, it's still, that's still, even it'd be 10% down. That's still a $700 a month payment. So I got to figure out it's a funny thing is you want to buy the cheap model, but you want all the options, which just, it's well, why don't you buy a Badlands? And it's funny because on that base model, between the 2-door and the 4-door, it's like a $3,000 or $4,000 difference between getting extra doors, which I get because for storage and really using it. And
so I would say if it's my primary vehicle, I'd go the 4-door.
Okay, but here is something that's interesting to me. So that the new Broncos, the roofs, they have basically the T. That's not T-tops, but the front two panels come off like the Wranglers do.
Yeah.
And you can take off the rear shell. Okay. Yep. Well, if you have roof racks, the Ford built-in roof racks, the roof racks come off with the top of the shell. So you can't continue to have you can't have the basket up there.
Well, somebody's gonna make an adapter.
It's not an adapter. It's bolted in. It's bolted into the roof. It won't even bolt into the roll bar that's underneath. Now, if you've seen a Bronco without the roof on it, all the roll bars are painted the same color, and they don't have a center bar. So it's a clear roof. But yeah, you have to take off. You literally have to unbolt it from the frame up front. It bolts into the windshield, and there are caps that Ford gives you to bolt into there. And then basically, if you pull off the rear clam, if it's and I'm not talking about the soft shell. I'm talking about what does Ford call it? The color through plastic, which basically, just so we're clear, all they're doing is using plastic pellets that are all the same color so it's not just where if you scratch something, which is kind of cool. If you're going down the road and you scratch your top, the whole panel is the same color, so you can't really tell.
No. Okay.
But yeah, you lose the roof racks, and if you lose the roof racks, you can't have your light bar up there. There's the Ford light bars and things like that, and there's a lot of little quirks that are coming out about the car that's kind of interesting. So basically, if you buy a 4-door, you're really only going to be able to take off the front roof unless you want to take off. And they've made it very easy with the Bronco bolts and all that.
Yeah.
But everything has to come off. I've watched multiple videos on it.
That's why I'm buying the Gen 2.
Yeah.
A Gen 1 Ford, anything is a test, trial and production.
There's a website I found, or not a website, but a YouTube channel called Bronco Nation, and it's these guys.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
And they have worked through the soft top, they've worked through the hard top, and everything. And just I encourage you, even if you're thinking about it, go out and watch them because they're showing people. They're not paid by Ford. Ford has loaned them vehicles, but they're going, look, this is what happens when you do this. This is what happens. So it's kind of interesting, but it's also kind of a conundrum of what are you going to do? Ford's screwing up my plans.
Yeah, if they can ever start building a thing, I think the Wrangler's finally gonna have some competition, like the FJ was. But
yeah.
This is like a better FJ.
Why did Toyota ever stop making the FJ in America?
They're worth as much as they were new now. Why does Toyota do a lot of things though?
I don't know. You and I were talking about that, about the 4Runner and the fact that they're so expensive to buy, but the parts to put on them are not.
Yeah, kind of odd.
Yeah.
So I'm working on a 4th gen 4Runner for a buddy right now, and I did a headlight upgrade for him. I'm doing some LEDs with HID Kit Pros and some other just odds and ends that I'm fixing on the thing. And I was like, man, everything's so cheap for this. Not Land Cruiser. Land Cruiser is not cheap, and nothing is cheap. But the 4Runner is a really great buy as far as upgrading and building. And until Ford gets their stuff figured out with the Bronco, that's still a really good option, by the way, for anybody out there. Expensive, but you get a really modifiable vehicle. And they've got a new one coming next year. New platform for the Tacoma and the 4Runner, apparently.
We'll see.
Which is Toyota, so I don't worry as much about buying a Toyota first year as I do a Ford. But
I was helping my dad move some stuff into their storage unit yesterday on Sunday, and we pulled in there, and right sitting next to our car was a brand new, this forest green Lexus. What's the biggest Lexus? LX 570?
The 570, the Land Cruiser.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It had dealer plates on it too, but I was talking to
last year for it.
Oh my God, that was gorgeous. 2021. You look at it and you go, I wouldn't, and it was so pretty. I was like, I'd never want to take this off road. It's so.
But you could.
But you could. It was.
And they'll get you back on a Land Cruiser.
Yeah. So.
Or Land Rover.
So they're getting rid of the Land Cruiser totally here.
Yeah. All gone for the U.S. market.
Why?
They're just not selling enough. It's almost like if they marketed anything.
Them, or you can't get them, because I remember when we had some friends that bought them and you couldn't get them, because people in Qatar and every place
they were buying all the white ones.
Yeah,
that's a thing over there, and they became available again, but Toyota just wasn't putting the numbers out. But again, it's kind of one of those weird things. Like Toyota put nothing into making that a proper vehicle because large SUVs still sell. Look at the Navigator right now, of all things, which is beautiful, by the way. The Navigator's amazing.
Pretty, yeah.
Yeah, but large SUVs, for some reason, aren't selling for a Toyota, which, again, just brings you back to bad marketing because it's a great vehicle. They just haven't really done anything with it. The 570 is a long overdue transplant. The 570 V8's old.
When's the last time you ever saw an ad for the 570?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you have to know they exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's one of those things, like, they didn't do any marketing with them. I'm like, well, why do you think they died? You didn't tell anybody they existed.
But I don't think they would die. I think if people really, I think
they're awesome.
The Suburban owners and the Escalade owners, by the way, the new Escalade is absolutely epically awesome.
Yeah.
I think people, I think if they knew that they existed, they would still buy them. So.
Yeah. Then there's Chevy with their Blazer.
What in the hell is that?
I don't know. Spare parts bin. I don't know.
I look at that and I go, what the heck?
Here we had some leftover stuff. Throw it on an SUV, it'll sell.
Speaking of SUVs you don't need, I was watching Savage Garage, and they were on a drag strip with a new Jeep SRT, the Hellcat.
Oh, that thing's awesome.
Running quarter miles at 9.9 in an SUV. And I'm going, Jesus.
I know somebody who has one of those, and she has a ski rack on the top and snow tires. Drives it all the time. That thing is awesome.
But, like, it's like when the X5M came out.
Yeah.
I didn't get it.
There's a running meme right now about how, like, everybody's like, let's make the Mustang electric. Let's kill off the Camaro. Then there's Dodge over there, like, put a Hellcat motor in it. 700 plus horsepower in the minivan. Let's do it.
Keep joking. The internet trolls were noticing, like, Chevrolet made some announcement, and there was a bunch of cars in the background, and it was an SUV with Corvette headlights, which they think is going to be Chevy's answer to the Mach 5 or whatever. The
Mach-E,
the Mach-E Mustang.
Whatever it is.
So,
yeah.
I don't know.
So the note from the audience is that McLaren just set a new record for fastest quarter mile and fastest 0 to 60. David, what was that? Oh, the 765. Yeah.
Are you kidding? Do you remember when we were it was amazing, we're under threes, and now, I mean, you're getting Porsches from the factory that are under threes.
So that number was 2.1 seconds in 0 to 60. And what was the quarter? 9.3 at 151 miles an hour. Now, that's even more impressive because that car is strictly rear-wheel drive. There's no electric assist. There's no all-wheel drive.
So you're saying in the today's day and age, the Fast and the Furious Dom would be like, you owe me a 10-second car, and Paul would be like, let's just go to the McLaren dealership. I'll get you a 2.1.
You can buy a Demon for $100,000. I mean,
and I brought this up. Speaking of little quirks and things like that, I brought this up to Dan. We were talking about the new Ram TRX or whatever.
Yeah.
Little quirks.
Oh yeah, this is a cool one. I like.
If you haven't, find a video about it because at the moment, Ram is kind of beating the Raptor. Kind of.
Yeah, it's really heavy, but it's still fast, and it has on the airbox. It has a picture of the T-Rex eating raptors.
Eating a raptor, and then when you go inside the cab and you open it up, there's a T-Rex, and then there's a very small raptor underneath him. Just little shots at forward, which I go, it's healthy competition.
Yeah, I love that kind of stuff. And I mean, supposedly the new Raptor is going to come in a few different trims with the GT500 Mustang supercharged V8 and a upgraded twin turbo V6 with 500 horsepower.
How is that supercharger going to work with slow crawl?
I think it'll be fine.
But you're not going to be able to spool it up. It's going to be low.
You don't need to, though, at slow crawl with that gear reduction because you've got the gear reduction. So you don't really have to have – you don't want that kind of power. You're just going to be spinning wheels and breaking stuff.
Yeah, but you want to be able to have the power to grab and get over that.
Well, it's got more than that. More than enough with a V8. So
okay.
I mean, you think about it, you can throw a 4-cylinder in it for crawl as long as your gear ratio is low enough.
The Bronco is, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a fun poke.
It's a fun poke.
Like, we need more of that.
I like that. I like the healthy competition. I think that'll be kind of fun. I noticed that some YouTuber jumped his and basically totaled it already over a creek.
Shocking.
Looked really good, by the way, till it hit. But
that's the Dukes of Hazzard way.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the good old boys.
Looks great until you watch. I was laughing at a video of that.
That ruined my childhood. When I went and looked at the videos of the Dukes of the Charger actually landing, it's
in the show too. Which what's funny is like there's a show could never be remade again. But watching the car fold with every jump, I'm just like, oh my word, they ruined so many Chargers.
I want to know what happened to all because everybody wants them now, and like.
Well, they used to do that Dukes of Hazzard reunion where they'd jump one every year, and then now they're too expensive, and you will probably run out of most towns for having a flag.
What they're doing now, and apparently is you can take the body and you put it on a Crown Vic frame.
Oh, yeah, it's a truck chassis,
So,
yeah.
I guess. I don't know. Who knows?
That's so funny.
Oh, the good old racial days.
Yeah.
No, I mean.
Well, we didn't know. Nobody knew at the time.
It was just
Nobody
good old
associated with
bootleggers
yeah,
of the
bootleggers
80s.
with a
Back in the
Confederate
day,
flag.
when you could jump their car, or you'd get in your black Trans Am and it would talk to you. I've always wanted one of those lights on the front of my car. You
can still get them pretty cheap now.
Yeah, I just wanted the guy to talk to me in the car. I just wanted somebody to talk to me.
What was that guy's name?
I always thought it was Mr. Feeny. For years, I thought no, they're two different people.
Are you sure?
I'm almost positive that they're different. The voice of Kit is Higgins. Yeah,
Higgins from, okay,
Higgins,
hold on.
Higgins,
Taking a pause for the show right
Yeah.
now. I'm going to look this up. Okay.
Grandpa, what do you call this thing again?
It's a 66 Ford Bronco.
I think you got ripped off.
Why is that, honey?
It's got no Wi-Fi, no USB port, no Bluetooth.
Exactly. I guess we'll just have to talk.
Sometimes the best way to connect is to disconnect.
Is that the window button?
It's called a window crank.
Cool. The faster I move it, the faster it goes down.
This moment of escape was created by Haggerty
Being old is kind of cool, Grandpa.
Works for me.
for people who love cars.
And we're back. So,
I'm never wrong.
you were wrong in this particular case.
Okay, but I was wrong in the fact that I thought that Kit's voice was the guy from Magnum PI. I was wrong about that.
So it turns out the guy from Magnum PI is John Hillerman.
Okay.
And the guy who voiced Kit was William Daniels, and he is also Mr. Feeny in Boy Meets World.
Think about Kit saying, Mr. Matthews.
Right.
Come up to the front of the class, yeah.
Yeah. We were all a little confused on that one. But now our listeners know. Different people.
And knowing
Important
is half
stuff.
the battle, speaking of 80s phrases, yeah. Yeah. I miss the 80s. I'll say it. G.I. Joe, He-Man.
I still listen to a ton of 80s inspired music, so I never left, really. I've always loved the 80s
I refuse
music.
to leave the 80s.
Yes, I'm still stuck there, and it finally came back, so I'm cool again.
That's the thing. I've said it before. People come back like, oh, did you see these neon colors? They're brand new. Like, no, they're not. I was skiing in those so that you could find me in a ditch.
I was discussing with a friend about, like, the ideal
You're
way
not
to
allowed
do...
to have other friends.
I know.
What
I'm
the-
sorry.
Okay.
I was discussing with an imaginary friend.
Oh, good.
Well,
I
it
have
would
one
be
of
fun
those
to
too.
do with property. Like, if I had a bunch of property, I'm trying to get property and build, which turns out damn near impossible here unless I move to Snohomish and beyond to, like, Monroe.
Speaking of that, if anybody knows any property in the Fall City area,
Yeah, Fall City.
Yeah.
I'm just putting it out there. I'll
Yeah.
put it out there, universe. I am shopping. I'm ready to buy, and there is nothing to buy that is like, well, here's your stream that you can't build on ever.
literally a river runs through it.
Yes,
That'd be a good
literally.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's
Yeah.
your 22 acres of fishing land
You don't like the
that you
fish.
can't step on.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway. So I was discussing it. I was like, I should do some gates with, like, an old Trans Am up on blocks with T-tops and, like, an old, like, white trash double wide in front, and then my house way in the back. So everybody,
These are the gates.
yeah, so up at the gates, because then it's like, if you look at the meth house, nobody wants to go in there and mess with you. You'll never get any salesmen. You'll never get any religious solicitation. They'll just be like,
Kicking back to the 80s, what was the movie with Chevy Chase? He was driving a 7 Series, and John Candy and Dan Aykroyd were in it. And they played
Nothing
both-
But Trouble.
Yes,
It was a 3 Series.
and it was a 7 Series.
It's a 3 Series.
It was a 7 Series. It was brand new. I guarantee you.
Yeah, his guess says this is a Beamer. Step it, it's a Beamer, and then John Candy opens the manifolds on the patrol car, catches up with it. It was Demi Moore, John Candy, Chevy Chase.
But remember, they had the whole yard he had to drive through, and
Dan
the front
Aykroyd.
gate. But yeah. Okay. I still think it was a 7 Series, but yeah. Either way, I'm never wrong. So yeah,
You know I'm going to look it up
that
now.
reminds me. Yeah, guarantee. How do you even look that up?
Nothing But Trouble BMW.
I think it was a 7, because all of them were in it. It was a big car.
Oh, you're right. Boom, you win. It's a 1983 or 84 733i.
Back when BMWs had 3s, 5s, and 7s, and maybe an 8.
You know what's funny is that was probably a 3.3 liter.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. Oh, it had the engine from a 3 Series in it. Absolutely, yeah.
But the film was 1991, so that's a really dated car for the time. At the time, it's kind of weird.
But at the time, it was a brand new car, and at the end of the movie, they cut it in half.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's a terrible movie, by the way. It's weird. Let's put it that way.
When John Candy plays the girl, yeah.
Well, Dan Aykroyd, I think, directed, which Dan Aykroyd was Ghostbusters. Like he's a huge sci-fi nerd.
He was in Ghostbusters. He didn't direct Ghostbusters.
No, but he
wrote Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. And did you know that Dan Aykroyd owns that Skull vodka? That's his. Yeah.
So weird. Anyway.
Things you learn from Rain
A
City
little off
Supercars.
the rails
sorry,
here, but
sorry.
But anyway, it's car trivia.
Exactly. Harold Ramis. Yeah, Harold Ramis did Ghostbusters.
Thank you. Rest in peace. I think he passed away. Anyway.
Yeah. No, Ivan Reitman did Ghostbusters. Harold Ramis was in it and helped rewrite it because Dan Aykroyd, he comes from Canada, and his parents, he's a stern believer in the afterlife and ghosts and things like that, and he wrote it. Yeah.
And UFOs, too.
Yep. And can't beat Stripes. Oh.
Yeah. We're talking about the Clive Owen BMW films. Madonna was. Who's the guy who got famous from that?
Clive Owen.
Yes, it was Clive Owen also did, but Guy Ritchie is who I was thinking of as well, who got a big part in that.
If you have, the Madonna one, especially when he throws her out on the curb. Oh,
yeah, that's hilarious.
Great.
Anyway,
what else is happening in the automotive world? Like I haven't seen a ton of we're not doing Scottsdale this year. There's not. I mean, there's a bunch of cars that are going up for auction. By the way, some really high-end cars.
Posted a bunch of stuff.
Well, I think Meekum just did it. Carroll Shelby's Cobra went across
his
the block.
original one did.
Yeah,
I didn't see what it sold for though.
Too much, like 5.7, I think.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
I don't know. I'm never wrong, but who knows?
$6 million. Carroll Shelby's 1965
Jesus.
Shelby sold this week for $6 million.
It's funny because, and I don't think a lot of people, it's not anymore, but for a long time there was a lot of the rich Shelby history, especially the GT or the 350s and the 350Rs. The first cars were here. They were kept in the Pacific Northwest by a local collector.
Yeah, he just sold them all, so that's not really a secret anymore.
I guess it's right, not a secret.
Yeah, so Otzbach was the collector here, and he sold all those. So
yeah. You know what was interesting? Speaking of some cars we've talked about before, and I noticed, and I think that they're taking it on, is that Park Place is taking on Fisker.
That's right. They just did their installation this week. That's a good time to bring up. So if you in for something new,
you remember getting yelled at in downtown Carmel over that? So there was the Fisker Karma, and then somebody bought the company, and the car company's name is now Karma,
not Fisker.
But the car is not called the Fisker Karma. It's the Karma something else. Yeah.
But it looks just like the Fisker Karma with some updates.
And if you were a salesman 2 years ago down in Carmel, you were kind of a... It's like, explain the story to me. Don't treat me like a child. Like, we're not Fisker Karma, we're Karma, whatever. Like, and obviously he yelled at me and I remembered everything. But yeah, that's kind of neat. I always thought that was a really cool car. I remember when they had the dealership in downtown Bellevue, and
the design has actually aged really well. It's a good looking car, minus the weird keyholes in the door, which I don't know if have been fixed or not. I haven't seen that in a while. Because it's a pre-production one that we saw in Carmel.
Because Fisker designed the Z8, he designed the Aston Martin DB9 for Z8 for BMW.
Really great designer.
Yeah, and then he tried to start his own car company because everybody knows that works well.
Worked for Elon.
Oh,
sort of.
Speaking of that, and I know you're going to be
richest man.
You're going to be a little depressed about this because you are a huge fan of this car. Jerry, I forgot his Weigert, or Weigert. He's the owner and founder of Vector.
Yeah.
And Dan has talked about Vectors before many times because it's this awesome supercar, which ironically John Otzbach used to have one.
Yeah, so Vector's my unicorn. It's the one, I've seen the W12, which is basically just a rebodied Diablo. I have never seen the W8, the original Vector W8 twin turbo. I have never seen. It's the only car in my entire list that I've never seen in person. And I have had a poster of one on my wall since I was a kid. I don't have one now, of course, but back when I was a kid, that was like the car for me.
Shauna made you take it down, huh?
She did. Yeah. But yeah, that's my unicorn. That's the car I've always wanted to see and the car I've always wanted to drive. And I've never been in one. So
it's funny because I found it out because of our mutual Facebook friend, your favorite buddy in his P1 is Clarence.
Hovasak, yeah.
I think he had one.
I think he did too.
Yeah, and so
it was a car featured in Rising Sun with Wesley Snipes and Sean Connery. Yeah, and it was so far ahead of its time. It had a stupid 3-speed transmission in it and a really weird design, but it did 200 plus back in a time when that was the most terrifying thing under the sun.
Yep.
When you couldn't go to the lot and spend $40,000 on a used C6 Z06 and do 200 miles an hour. This was 15 years ahead of that.
It's such a cool car. Like
it's so 80s.
If you're a car person, if you've never seen it, go look it up. I mean, it looks like it was built for the Flight of the Navigator kind of thing, or what was the movie with the alien car that blew everybody up?
The Wraith?
Was it a Vector in that movie too?
No, that was a Chrysler, actually, pre-production, 4-cylinder turbo tube chassis. I can't remember the name of that thing, but Chrysler Interceptor, that's what it's called.
Okay.
Yeah. It was Dodge.
Kind of the same thing, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of that weird, crazy 80s style.
Yeah.
That was Charlie Sheen, early movie for him. But anyway.
Back when he was normal.
One of my favorite movies, actually, just nostalgia-wise. I loved early car movies. But yeah, the Vector has always been my unicorn. And I've seen every other car I've ever wanted to see in my entire life. I've never seen a W8 in person.
Yeah, because we've seen the W12. The W12 is here, but
yeah, Katz has had it a couple times, actually, yellow one, and which is still a cool car in its own right. But that was after
There's
a weird.
not that many of them out there. Period.
No, and that's technically not a Vector as we know it. It was a company bought out Vector. It was actually the company that bought Lamborghini as well. Created this weird W12. That's why they were able to make it, and then Dodge bought them out. Weird story there behind Vector. Look at the Wikipedia page on Vector. It's a weird. There's a couple of companies in car history that just have super weird histories. Vector is one of them. So is Lamborghini, for that matter.
Yeah.
Who's on first?
Everybody forgets there's a real small gap between the original Viper V10 and the V10 that's in Lambos. So yeah.
Yeah, they're really similar for a reason.
It's like Dodge owned them or something.
Right.
Yeah. Chrysler,
2 cylinders missing on one of them.
Who knew? Who knew?
Yeah. But yeah, rest in peace. That's still my childhood like dream car, and it still looks like a childhood.
There can't be
dream
that
car.
many of the W8s out there.
No, there's almost. I think there's like less than 30. I want to say.
Yeah, and they're around. And they got around the world because they're big time collector cars. So.
I'm sure there's one collecting dust in the desert somewhere, which makes me sad. But yeah,
some hidden away.
Yeah,
we'll find you one.
Thanks.
If anybody knows where the W8 is, tell Dan.
If there's anyone local that I can go see, I would love to go see it and just look at it. I don't expect to drive it. I don't expect to go for a ride in it. I would just love to see one. That's a car I would take a journey to go see. There was one in Portland that I missed that I really want, a purple one actually, and it sold before I had the chance to go down there and get to it. And I would have driven down there. I just didn't have time. And so if there's one local to Washington or around the area, I think there was one in Boise for a while. It's one of those weird cars that just shows up in random spots. You're like, here's one in Nebraska. What?
It's a time traveling car.
Yeah. So if anybody knows of one, I'd love to see it.
I didn't realize, I've noticed as of recently, there's a huge hypercar collections in Ohio.
Where's some tax law or something maybe?
I don't know, but there's a couple of I tend to get a ton of my automotive news from YouTube stuff, but the Triple F collection is there, and there's a ton of hypercars in Ohio. I don't know where it's coming from, but
it's good money in Cleveland.
Midwest farming. We had a good corn. We had a good corn year, honey. Let's buy a Koenigsegg. So everybody knows that.
There's a lot of money in John Deere, so I wouldn't put it past them. I don't know where they're based out of, but
can you get a Koenigsegg in John Deere green?
I would if I could John Deere.
I don't know. I think that'd be ugly. I am interested to see that new Koenigsegg the 4-seater that's coming out.
Yep.
That'll be kind of interesting.
You know, we haven't heard any news on it in a while. We need to follow up on it. I've been trying to track down Jared, is SSC. Whatever happened to that SSC record?
They did it again, and they didn't come anywhere close. They did do a second run, and they had multiple things, and there was wins and things like that. And they didn't come like I expected them to come within a few, but they didn't come. Like I don't know if they got over like 220 miles an hour. Like
it's not good.
Yeah, and they had invited a bunch of YouTubers in. If you don't know, when they made the first run, they said that they were verified. They weren't. The companies that used the verification said they weren't verified.
Yeah, the GPS company said no.
And then there was a bunch of these people out there that are, these brainiacs that took the videos and broke it down and were looking at the road markers and saying how fast they were going. And then they had some video with of a Bell helicopter flying beside it at 200 or 300 miles an hour, and the helicopter won't go that
300
fast.
miles an hour.
So it's been kind of a controversy, but
actually, that's a really easy calculation to make if you look at the mile markers. All you have to do is time the mile markers.
Well, they were doing the mile markers, but they were also doing the white lines. They were timing the white lines as well.
Huh.
So I don't know. That was Shmi 150 and a couple other people that were kind of called their BS. And then that was the thing. They quietly, they were down in Florida. They went and did another run, and it didn't do anywhere near what they thought it was going to do. I think the car's capable. I think the car's capable of it. So we'll see.
I hope it is. I love seeing records like that broken. Like I have no interest in buying a car, but it's still cool to see it done.
I don't know. I think the only car that took longer to come to market. Well, this has taken longer than the new NSX coming to market. But other than that, there's not much else considering 11, 12 years ago, we saw the same car.
For the nerds on the show, we used to call the NSX the Duke Nukem Forever of cars.
Yes.
Because it
took forever.
And then it ended up being like Duke Nukem
And
Forever.
it was driven by giant blonde guys that kill aliens. Duh, Duke Nukem. Right? Maybe that's Johnny Bravo.
Actually,
sorry.
That's Duke Nukem, but
okay.
I actually really like the new NSX. I'm in that tiny margin of people that really think it's a great car, but it's a fantastic car to drive. Not for the price point. That was all.
I gotta drive one. I know where one is.
I know a few. Yeah.
If I could just get him to leave the country, then I know I'd be left alone.
Yeah, go back to London. I know he's listening.
You know who you are. Go back to London. Leave the keys. It'll be fine. So.
No, it's a great car to drive. I don't think I'd pay $200 like they were planning for it. That's for sure.
Beautiful car though. Yeah.
Anyway, so we are looking forward to seeing our Avants Off-Road members this Saturday. That's the only event we really have on the radar. A little bird told me there was another one coming up in February, though.
Well, I think initially their plan was to do one monthly.
Yes.
But it's been tough. When was it? October?
Yeah. October was the last one.
Yeah, I was going to say that was the last time we were there.
The last time you washed your car? Yeah, October.
Yeah, pretty much. That's true. That's sad. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to get the heck out of the house. So
yeah. So if you haven't joined Avants, you should, because you could be there collecting prizes that we're handing out that aren't junk. We don't do these crappy I don't really need this prizes. We do prizes you actually want, because that's the rule we have.
Yeah, and I don't think many people notice this. Like when you set up a sponsorship with somebody and they give you things to give away, and then you look at it and go, do we have to give that away? We have one thing we're giving away that I'm like, I don't want to give it away. But
we will never be that group of people that gives away stuff you don't want. This is all stuff you want.
Whoever gets that product, and we will talk about it next week, you're gonna have to have us over to your house, because I want to see it work.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we have cool stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to next month's sign up for the Avants Off-Road members. What you should be, you need to sign up right away to these events. Like if they announce it, you got to be like, I'm in. Where do I sign up right away? Because people are desperate for awesome good times, and as soon as we have the ability to announce them, we have so much in the works for people to look forward to. So much. We have focused a lot on building. How do we say this? Building a way to make great events. So.
Even I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
I mean,
secret, I don't know.
Gathering equipment, finding places to have events,
yeah.
partners that you will want to meet and do cool stuff with. Lots of partnerships with Avants, a lot of partnerships with our sponsors. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff in the works. We're just waiting for the state to say we can do that. So there's a lot of stuff we have to keep low key for the sake of not getting sued.
I don't think you get sued by the state.
You don't get sued.
I think you just disappear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which would be ironic if they sent the state patrol after us. But that's a different story. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think that kind of wraps up this episode. It's a little sporadic. I'm not really sure how much of it will actually make it to the real reels, but we'll see.
Some creative editing.
You are full of some vinegar today,
caffeine.
aren't you? Caffeine. Oh, that's what it is.
Caffeine
okay.
and a little alcohol.
And meat sticks. Yeah.
A lot of meat sticks. They're delicious. They're in the truck. Would you like one?
No, I don't want to gross out our no, I
you
don't
live
want
alone. It's fine.
No, I don't want one. I can smell them anyways.
Scare off the birds.
Good God. It's scaring me off. Makes me want to ride in the back of the truck. Well,
I might kill the canary. It's fine. I have one.
You're not a minor. Don't kill the bird. Oh, God, she'd kill you.
I taught him to play tag.
You taught your bird to play tag?
Yeah, he sits on my monitor while I work, so I tap my finger and he runs over and bites it real quick and runs back. It's really cute.
I need to get you out more.
I've been in lockdown a long time.
More than once a week. We need to get you out more. So, all right. Well, for this episode of RCS, I'm Nick.
I'm Dan, and don't just get there. Enjoy the drive.